Okay, hi, I'm John Hicks from Official Xbox Magazine. I'm joined by John Blythe, also of Official Xbox Magazine.
Hello.
And for the first time, the Xbox One, which we've actually got in the office at last. Obviously, I've seen a lot of it already. I've been to E3, been to the reveal event. This is the first time I've actually been allowed to actually come up and sort of lay hands on it. And obviously the first time that Log's got this close to it at all.
You can play it like a Guiro.
A crucial feature which they have inexplicably left off the marketing material. So we just thought we'd do this kind of sort of introduction to it, kind of show you guys the various features, what it looks like. Obviously, this is the basic console. It's quite big. We have actually brought along for reference. You can see this is the
Relatively heavy, not too heavy.
Yeah, it's not quite as heavy as perhaps it looks.
It's got a hefty look to it, but it's like you're not picking up your Xbox every day of the week anyway.
Yeah, well, it's obviously designed to sort of just be sort of sat there and be largely untouched. I think the testing said that they kind of designed it so that it can be left on for a decade. I think that was the sort of design requirement. So, which is ambitious, but it's good to know that they planned for that.
I don't know why I brought up the weight in the first place. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Yeah,
Carry on with more relevant statistics.
Yes. It's not so much a statistic as to say, right, well, here's how it compares to the Xbox 360, or the original Xbox 360, so it's kind of a similar thing. Things get a little bit less dynamic when you look at it compared to the Xbox Slim, which is, quite a lot smaller. So you are getting... When you get the Xbox One, you are getting a whole lot of Xbox there.
And that's a good thing.
Yes. Well, obviously, it's a wonderful thing.
You'd feel cheated if it wasn't a little bit bigger.
Well, you could definitely tell yourself that you're getting a lot of next generation power in this. So I guess we'll kind of go around the ports. Obviously, you've got the DVD drive on the front. You've got this kind of touch button over here. That's a power switch.
The touch button port, essential.
Yes, the power button.
For finger interfacials.
That thing. And then around the side, you've got the kind of controller sync button on the side. You've got an extra USB port there. Obviously, it's wireless controllers, which we'll get to in a second. And then around the back, you will notice, by the way, there's this fetching thing on the top here. That's not actually like a Microsoft specified part. There's actually a big sticker there with a bunch of technical specifications on it that Microsoft would rather we didn't reveal. But you can see all the ports on the back, which have been fairly well documented. There's another couple of USB ports. There's the Kinect port. There's something for the network connection for an IR blaster. I think there's an optical sound output. This is very professional, isn't it?
It wasn't the Kinect.
Yes.
The Kinect meant to be an IR blaster itself.
Yeah, there's room. I'll confess, I don't know enough about home entertainment to fully get this, but there is. You can also connect functions in an IR blaster. But I think if you've got one for another system, you can plug that into it as well. Right. The idea being that you connect in other devices into the HDMI input thing there. So that's the idea is that you can plug in things like cable boxes or Sky boxes or something like that, and then you route it through all the sort of tele features of the Xbox One. And then so there's the audio output and the power socket and the HDMI output, and then there is nothing on that side. And then we are back to the front. You will possibly notice already that we're getting fingerprints on this thing. This is liquid black, they call this finish, and it is...
Can I get sort of an immediate fingerprint test?
Yes, there you go. So
there you go.
It's really easy to get fingerprints on this.
Well, that's the reason you don't pick it up that's the reason you don't pick it up all the time.
Well, yes, that's another reason to kind of leave it under your television and maybe just like dust it occasionally. But I do wonder, obviously when the 360 Slim came out, that was kind of piano black, I think they called it. That was kind of quite slim and kind of very shiny. And then they actually withdrew that after a while because I think people preferred the matte finish. It'll be interesting to see if Xbox One goes the same way. I know Microsoft's designed this very much with a view to it feeling like a piece of sort of consumer electronics, so it feels like something that you would leave under your television.
Yeah. At least the controller, which is what you've got your greasy paws on all the time, is more of a matte thing.
Yes, definitely, and obviously that's that's probably the next most important thing. New controller, largely unchanged.
Yeah, but you say largely unchanged, but all the news articles said 40 improvements have been made, but I could not find one article that just listed them in a numbered list. But it's triggers.
The triggers are the main one. And it's a shame we haven't got the power supply for this this thing, which is actually designed design nerds note that the power supply is actually designed in exactly the same way as the console is. So it's like kind of 50-50. So it's half black, half vent. There's a massive fan under this thing as well, by the way. When I was at Microsoft, they kind of took it all to pieces and showed us the inside. And obviously, overheating hasn't been the Xbox 360's best suit, so they put a lot of effort into kind of fixing that. So there's a really massive cooling system in this thing. But the power supply is designed on the same way, so it's kind of half black, half vent. And that's actually how they've designed the interface as well. It's one of those little nerdy things I picked up when I was over there. Everything's designed to this kind of 50-50 scale.
I take it you have to keep that clear, do you?
Yes, I would. Well, yeah, I would assume so, because there's the heatsink and the fan and all the dust coming out of it.
So it has to sit proudly on top of any stack you've got.
I think it's probably going to be. Well, I'm quite paranoid about that kind of thing anyway. But it's one of those ones where when it does go under the telly, it's like, well, I've got to make sure there's some space atop of it and not leaving old magazines on top or anything like that. But yeah, as you say, the controller is much improved. I couldn't tell you all 14 improvements, but I can say the impulse triggers, I think they're called, the actual rumble triggers are.
You've actually had a go on that, haven't you? And
yeah.
I haven't actually had it in action. I've just been trying to pretend that they were resisting me. But apparently it does change the way you interact with the game, apparently. I've heard someone say quite convincingly.
It does. I think it's one of those ones where I've only played it with some kind of tech demos that Microsoft have got, but it is really impressive when you're kind of in a driving game and you can feel the kick of the engine kind of coming through the triggers, or you feel the bumps in the road as you go over them, or kind of controlling a helicopter, you feel the rotor vibration coming through. It's really. It's a really small thing, and I'm surprised no one's done it before in hindsight, but it's really, really, really effective.
I'm glad you said that. It's a small thing rather than it will fundamentally change how games exist in the world. It's just a nice thing.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll change. I think it will definitely change how controllers exist in the world, because I sort of expect that pretty much every controller will have this feature within about a year, just because it's such a natural extension, and it's so good that I just think everybody else is going to go, well, we're going to do that, and then just game pads don't have that anymore. We'll see rubbish in data by comparison.
And a step backwards that's an improvement is the D-pad, which I know I'm not unique in this, but I can't believe that the D-pad on the Xbox 360 controller is still how it is.
Yeah, I think that was one of those decisions that they made back in the day, and they haven't really been able to kind of pull away from. Because I'm terrible at fighting games, I've never really had any kind of major D-pad issues, but. I have been told at great length how bad it is previously, so it's good to see that we have a more precise D-pad here. So
one fewer excuse to be bad at fighting games, then.
Yeah,
so I suppose.
Yes, handily I have many more, and obviously they've
just feeling it. That's all right.
That's good. Good to know these sticks do click. I think there's been a few more kind of changes in how in the kind of the way that these that the tops of the sticks have been machined and the way they feel and that kind of stuff. I'm not sensitive enough to really pick that up, but I'm assured that does make a big difference. And then we've got the.
I thought you were going to show off the floating X, because that's one thing I saw in a video, that the X actually floats, which is the X button? I think you can look at it from the side and you can see the X hovering or something.
Okay. This is great video, isn't it? It's just like
you can't see it, and neither can we, to be honest.
It's two grown men squinting at a controller. But obviously the kind of the basic layout hasn't changed, because everybody really likes the Xbox controller. So that's pretty much the same. It's just these buttons are now changed. So instead of start and back, there's now we've got these two functions, which brilliantly I've actually forgotten the name of. One of them is menu. I think the other one is to kind of, I think, is designed to sort of to switch into the other functions of
it looks
Xbox One.
It looks like the two overlaid screens. So it probably brings up the
so that's the sort of the equivalent of kind of bringing in the other half of the operating, or the other the bit of the operating system that kind of runs apps and background processes and that kind of stuff. Which obviously the big deal of Xbox One is you can kind of switch between those things instantly. And then on the top, we've got the sync button, obviously, and the new sort of interface thing. That's for that's
just a micro USB that sort of means
So that'll probably be
charge
like
and
another
plays the thing of the past,
Yes.
because that's both of them. I think.
Yeah, and then there's the kind of new socket down the bottom, which is for headphones and the like. As they've said, current headphones for 360 won't work on this thing, although apparently there is an adapter in the works to enable kind of the fancier kind of high-end Astro headsets and the like. If you've got one of those for 360, there will be an adapter that will enable you to connect to these.
And that's less of an urgent issue now. They've decided that they are giving away a headset.
Yeah, so not featured in this, but obviously when you buy an Xbox One, it will actually include a proper headset now. There was a period when they weren't going to happen, but Microsoft have now decided there is, which is nice. The alternative was, of course, Kinect, which is the new and improved version here. It's also got this glossy liquid black, easily fingerprinted surface. I'm not going to rip this to pieces because Microsoft will get very angry with me. But again, they have shown me inside, and it's actually.
Why would you?
But it's actually inside is actually really interesting. Like we've actually got like this microphone sensor along the bottom here. And there's actually, I think, 3 microphones kind of irregularly arranged within this, and they're arranged in such a way as to kind of cross-reference the room. So, because it's got this multi microphone array in it, it can kind of take different audio levels from different parts of the room and kind of hone in on people. So that, combined with the sensors in the middle, means that it can kind of identify who's talking because their lips are moving, and then it can kind of isolate their audio from the background noise. So the idea is, and that was one of the reasons why initially when it was going to replace the chat headset, was that you can just be talking, and even if there is background noise, it will dial down that and just pick you out directly, which is really cool. Actually, all of the tech in the new Kinect is really, really impressive when you see the ton of tech demos running that they've got. And the actual kind of the demos they've got, they're very kind of rough and ready. They kind of look like Xbox Live indie games, but the actual way it works and the way it can detect it doesn't require as much space. It can kind of recognise your face, it can recognise your lip movements, and your kind of facial expression and that kind of stuff. It's really, really, really good. And I know, obviously, Kinect has had a troubled time on Xbox 360 because the actual hardware itself didn't, in many cases, hasn't lived up to the early potential that we were sort of hoping for.
So diplomatically put.
But this, I mean, obviously I haven't seen enough of the games running on this thing yet, but the actual the technological features of the new one are like night and day compared to the old one. So I'm really I've been really impressed with the kind of tech demos. I'm really looking forward to seeing like what the actual games themselves.
So is that what have you played tech demos, or have you actually played a game so far?
I haven't played a game. I've just been in front of the demo where it kind of says, all right, you're person 3 and you look sad or happy or.
Do you want to watch a comedy?
well, there is that level of, and obviously this. I shouldn't go down this route because this is the sort of hypothesizing that led me into trouble with the original Kinect. But when you actually see what it's capable of, you think, well, actually, maybe there will be some sort of monitoring thing where it goes, you look sad. Why don't you watch a comedy from Xbox movies or something like that? Like you could actually come up with some sort of sci-fi monitoring thing that would do that.
You look pessimistic. Would you like your faith restored in humanity?
Yes. Yeah, I'm not quite sure how it would restore my faith in humanity over Xbox
YouTube
Live.
videos of people being friendly.
Yeah, that's it. Or kind of like the dogs being reunited with their owners or something like that.
Oh God, they've come back from Afghanistan and the dog's really happy to see them.
You are familiar with these, I see.
God, I watch them most afternoons at work.
That's. I'll try to take that as a judgment on your working environment. And I guess just to kind of conclude the fact that you actually see the physical thing, there is also the cable here, which is a hell of a thing. Actually, I don't know if this is a very strange thing to say, but this is a really like bulky industrial cable that feels like it feels like there's a lot of very important information going through this thing. So
it's carrying all human emotion from the Kinect
well, yes,
to
so
the console.
Yes, so I can understand why they've kind of overspec'd on that, because you'd hate for any like human emotion to kind of leak out and start interfering with the TV signal.
So that doesn't have to be plugged in anymore?
No, as of this week, Microsoft have confirmed that you don't need to have this plugged in for the actual console to work, which is obviously, that's in response to privacy concerns and so forth, and that's...
Honestly, I've had my Kinect plugged in, even though I don't really use it because my room's too small. I've had on my 360, I've had it plugged in for like 2 years. God knows what it's been telling people about me. Nothing, probably, because there are no privacy concerns.
And obviously, you would never do anything remotely worth reporting.
No,
actually, let's not go there. But so Microsoft has said you don't have to put this, leave it connected. But my suspicion is that the initial setup will, when you turn this console on, because I've already said it'll have to download an update, you'll probably have to run an initial setup for it.
Yeah.
So I bet you have to plug it in for the initial setup, and the expectation is you'll go, oh, actually this is quite cool. I'll just leave it there, and then when games come along that actually start using it in cool ways, then you'll be kind of glad you did. I hope so anyway, because it is really smart, and I think it would be a shame if if people decided that they weren't going to use it for kind of like, at the moment, hypothetical privacy concerns. But we will, I guess we'll see when it comes out.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to having a go on it, just because at the minute it's all a total mystery to me, and I just want to see whether it can see me doing that.
Yes,
it can.
Well, I can guarantee you it can see you doing that. It can kind of see like 2 points on each hand. It hasn't got individual fingers yet. But they were, when I was talking to the tech team about it, they were sort of saying, yeah, you can't see fingers yet, but we're refining the software, who knows, one day sort of thing. So
that's tech enough for me to do my sock puppet idea, which I still think is probably going to be the killer app. If I can just do that and make up a sock puppet theatre live on my TV screen.
That's I will definitely pitch that to Microsoft next time I see them.
Please, and then I don't know. I want all the credit as well. And maybe some money.
Yes, we'll call it the Blythe app, and it will be immortalised in history. Start your Wikipedia entry now. And I guess that's pretty much it with the sort of the out of the box stuff. As you say, so this is pretty much what you'll get in the box, with the exception of the headset and the power supply. Hopefully soon we will get a proper one post Gamescom, and we'll be able to go into a little bit more detail and show how it works.